Peace, peace, peace. What it do? Yeah, it's your brother man from the motherland coming to you guys live from the NY, back with another one of that Repent or Die podcast. For those that don't know who I am him, Junes, and NBIC, giving all praise and glory to the heavenlies, for they are worthy to be what? To be praised. Last but not least, I want to give a shout out to all you guys for your continuous support, leaving all that feedback, the positive, the negative, all things is respected because it allows me to do what I do best, and that is to continue keeping my foot on you heathens, you Hebrews, and the newly installed heathenites next. But yo, check this out. As you can see, some people don't even need an intro, but still I gotta introduce it to the kinfo, right? One of the Dundadas, one of the sisters that's keeping the sister movement, the black empowerment alive, and no other than the doctor. Yes, the doctor. Yes, you know, street niggas speak to the doctors too. We all need a physician, right? And the doctor came outside. Doctor, please let them know who you be.
Peace and love, warrior. For those, first of all, peace and love to everyone under the sound of my voice. For those who are not familiar with who I am and my work, I always say my African alias is Dr. Oya. My African alias, I mean that is not, of course, my given name or legal name, but it's a name that I have created and adopted. It's a name that represents me and who I am and my mission, right? It aligns perfect with my purpose. And so, anyway, I go by the name of Dr. Oya Maat, Dr. Oya Edward Maat. I am a native of Baltimore. I am an educator, an educator, an engineer, historian. Um, I would always say community activator because I believe that we have to activate, our people. So I would say a community activator. That's what I specialize in, and also I my focus is creating, creating and designing youth development program, Black youth development program. So that's something that I'm very, very passionate about. But we'll get to a lot of that later on. But that's who I am. Engineer, educator, historian, community activator, who loves to just pour into our people, man. Who loves our people, and who's very
Facts.
passionate about developing our people and restoring our people to greatness. And so, if I had to summarize who I am, I think that would be that in a nutshell.
Facts, 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 facts. Round of applause for that. Come on, people. Come on now. Come on now. Hey, before we even dive in, let me let you know, how did you come into my radar? Doing my content, my black empowerment, I came across one of your interviews with the judge himself, and he said something that when I heard it, it just hit me. When he says that black people no longer have heroes but distractions. And when I heard that, I said, nah, damn, I gotta talk about that. And I ain't talk about it because I knew you was gonna come on and lay the jackhammer. But I just wanted to just let you know, like, it's just an honor. I see what you doing. I'm also on that same type of time. I'm a certified life coach. As you can see, I came from a client. I came running here like, oh man, it's about to be 7 o'clock. Let me get this situated. You know how black people do. We listen. If I die, I'll be late for my own funeral. You heard? But anyway, we spoke briefly, and you wanted to tap in about the censorship that's going on upon people like ourselves. The flow is yours. Say what you have to say, and then of course I'll give my input on what I'm experiencing. But the flow is
Okay,
yours.
so I first want to address the judge's comment. So Judge Joe Brown, I want to give context to the comments that you made regarding the interview that I had with Judge Joe Brown. So Judge Joe Brown came on my platform, and he came on my platform to talk about the Diddy ordeal, right? Because right now the internet is on fire. It's been on fire since Diddy's house was invaded by Homeland Security. And so the internet has been on fire, and everyone's talking about Diddy, and and then right after his right after we saw the footage of Homeland invading really his household, his one of his mansions. I believe it was in Miami or Florida or somewhere. But when we saw Homeland invasion go in there, that footage leaked, and that was all over the internet. And then we saw the footage of him putting his hands on Cassie. And so literally for the past couple of months, it seems like, I don't want to say the world, right? Because I think that's a stretch. But for the past couple of months, we here in America have been inundated with video footage of Diddy and his home, his house raid, and him putting his hands on Cassie, and different opinions of different artists and bodyguards who were there and witnessed his physical abuse, his verbal abuse, and people are coming out of the woodworks. And so it seems like a lot of people are consumed with this stuff. And so Judge Joe Brown was saying, Dad God, it just seems like we have a lot of distractions, right? We don't have heroes. So let's go back. Let's go back to the 60s, right? When you had Dr. King and you had Malcolm and others on the scene. And so, they were our heroes, and even some of our sheroes. I'm thinking about Angela Davis, and shout out to some of those sisters from the Black Panther Party, and shout out to people like Ella Baker. I'm sorry, Ella Baker. Those sisters that were right there with the brothers in the '60s and the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power movement. But during that time, those were a lot of our, when we think about Black heroes, we go back to that time period. Typically the average
Facts.
Black person goes back to that time period. But now when you fast forward and you look at this time period, Judge Joe Brown is like, instead of having heroes that you looked up to, so back in those days, you could cut on the TV and you'll see Dr. King talking, and I can't imagine cutting on the TV in the 60s and seeing Dr. King sitting there with his legs crossed on the news or something. Or Malcolm X sitting there. I can't imagine that. But during that time period, that's what you saw. Fast forward, you're being inundated with Diddy and Cassie, and then you find out Kanye West got, he had some charges coming up, and the Dream being charged with sexual, all kinds of stuff. So Judge Joe Brown is like, wait a minute. It seems like we don't even have any heroes to look to anymore. At least, 60 years ago, we could cut on the TV and see our heroes. We could hear from our heroes. We could hear from Malcolm X and Dr. King and others, right? Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale and just others. He's like, but nowadays, we don't have that. Instead, we have the distractions, the Diddies, the Cassies, the next lawsuit, this celebrity gossip, this celebrity did this. So he's like, we no longer have heroes. And so when I posted the clip of Judge Joe Brown talking about this, I posted it on Instagram. And I think the video now is probably like 14,000 views, but a lot of people was just like, is that the one that was 14? I don't know, but I know that we had a pretty significant amount of views on that video. But Judge Joe Brown, that's what he was saying. Like, we don't have heroes to look to, heroes and sheroes to look to. We have nothing but distractions around us. And some people in the comments, they did applaud him, but some people said, well, we do have heroes, right? Like, you do have heroes in our immediate families and communities that just don't, that's just, the world doesn't know about them, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. And I actually do agree with those sentiments, that we do have local heroes. But the judge also said in that same clip that he does have some local heroes, but he's talking about in mainstream media, where are our heroes? And the people that we think are our heroes, and I don't want to throw shade on your podcast, but the people that we think are heroes are actually Black collaborators and agents. And so these are the people that we think. And like I said, I don't want to throw no names and I won't throw shade, but some of these people that are
Throw it,
propped up
throw it.
now, he said, go ahead. But some of these people that are propped up right now on social media, who talk Black, and talk Black and talk righteousness, they're really Black collaborators and agents. That's what they are, and they're sucking the blood of the Black community. In the words of Dr. Dennis Assault Winkler, he calls them oppression pimps. That's what he calls them. You know, people he calls them oppression pimps. He said, "You down with OPP?" He said, "OPP stands for oppression pimps." So they come along. They are know you we you know we oppress people, and they just pimp the struggle. They pimp the struggle, and they promise us schools. You know, dagger. They promise us schools. You know, they promise us that they're going to renovate our neighborhoods. They promise us black wealth if we invest, you know, in a fund. You know, that's another dagger. If we invest in this fund, you know, we're going to turn a profit in a certain amount of years. And so you have these oppression pimps in these communities that these folks think are heroes simply because they have viral videos on social media. So I just kind of wanted to build a little bit on what Judge Joe Brown was talking about, and just express that I agree 1,000% with what he was saying, you know. And he was saying that so some people kind of took what he was saying wrong. He was saying that we don't have heroes, but he was talking about in the context of mainstream media. There's no hero out there in mainstream media right now, and you can't name one. Not one politician, not an actor, not a athlete. One hero that black people can look to and say, this is a exemplary model of manhood. This is an exemplary, you know, model for womanhood. This is who I want my child to grow up and be like. This person is advancing our black community. This person is expressing or you know, this person is advocating for our interests. You know, this person has ties to the grassroots people and grassroots organizations. You don't have that today. You got a bunch of phony celebrities who are running around with fake foundations. So I got a foundation and we doing these projects, but really they're just tax shelters, right? They're just tax
Facts.
shelters, right? And that's what they are. But they'll say, "Oh, I have a foundation that donated to this school and that's building this," but it's really tax shelter. They really don't have boots on the ground with our people. And let me say this, and I'll land my plane.
Oh, I
Black
like that.
people Black people need to redefine what it means to be a celebrity. And this is what I said to my students. We need to redefine that. What we call celebrities aren't celebrities. These are black collaborators, these are sellouts, these are agents. And we say, "Oh, these are black celebrities." No, these are folks that white folks have given access to wealth and fame, and they've propped them up in front of us. But these aren't celebrities. And what I'm saying is not new at all. Malcolm X said this decades ago. These
Facts.
aren't celebrities. He said these are clowns and buffoons that white folks have given trinkets and access to, that they prop up in front of us. We need to redefine what it means to be a celebrity. And a celebrity is someone who is pushing us forward. So if that person isn't pushing us forward in the direction of liberation and independence and self-governance, then they aren't our celebrity. They aren't our celebrity. And so we got to also kind of be careful with who we deem as a celebrity. You know, you get what I'm saying, brother, and who we give our support to. And I land my plane with that.
Hey, sheesh. Listen, I guess those names that you didn't mention, you do a little jab, so I guess these brothers won't be on the show. But yeah. Listen, uh I mean, from all that you said, it's clear why your word is being sabotaged and censored and, you know, unable to reach the masses the way it's supposed to, because you are the epitome of the total opposite of what they want a so-called strong sister to be, right? You're speaking up, you standing 10 toes down, and you giving a voice, and not the voice to pointing at the black man, but the voice pointing at the system. Ooh, see, they're
Come
not
on.
ready. They're not ready for this barbecue chicken, but they gonna eat though, right? So I understand. And like I told you, just sitting back and observing your work, seeing you on Sonetta, you know I got to do my homework. You can't just throw, you know, people on your shows when I know where they come from, right? And just seeing you just doing this. The question that I gotta ask you is, what made you take this route? Like, what happened in life that you said, this is what I gotta do?
Well, it wasn't planned, and that was a beautiful that was a beautiful question. Beautiful, beautiful question that you just asked. And I do, before I answer your question, want to address what you were talking about regarding censorship, because I don't think I did when I was kind of going in. But yes, I'm being censored, and you definitely being censored. Like when I looked at your subscribers, I was like, oh brother, you got 107,000 subscribers. But then I looked at your video count, your view count, and I'm like, this doesn't add up. How can you have 107,000 subscribers? So that I said, oh, so this brother's going through what I'm going through, which is they play with the numbers. You get online, you post a video, first you got all these thousands of views, and then next your view count went down to, to 100. And you're like, wait a minute, I had 100 watching live. So how did I end up with 100 views on this video? If over 100 people were watching live, I should have 100 plus views at least to start. But they wipe out your views. They change your view count to make it seem like nobody's watching. And then another thing that they do, and shout out to my aunt Segment, who said she would tune in. I sent her the link, but it told me, and along with others, they said that they don't even alert people that you're live. So she had to like resubscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, because what they'll do is they'll unsubscribe people from your channel, and or they will disable the notification. So people won't even know that you're live. So you'll say, daggone, I used to go live. I would have a few thousand people. I would have a few hundred people, in the building. But now when I go live, I got 5 people. What's going on? And so they're not notifying, people when you're live. And so you're censored or shadow banned, as they will call it. But you know what? I say take it in stride. Welcome to the club, because you know when you're doing something right when people start censoring you. You know you're
Facts.
doing something right. You get what I'm saying? When
Facts.
things like that are happening. I even want to take it a step further, man. You know when you're doing something right. I think, and yes, I do believe in the devil. When I say the devil and evil, evil spirits, I believe in that. And I
Too.
believe that sometimes people, I think that the devil, if that's what I mean, if that's what you want to call it, the devil or evil forces, that they will, when you're on the right path, and you're doing the work, you're doing the righteous work, those evil forces will even use people close to you. You wondering why certain things happening in your family or in your intimate relationships or within the community. You
Facts.
this is sometimes I think, and I've had this conversation, even amongst my friend circle, but sometimes, and I remember having this conversation, don't be used. Don't be used. Sometimes the devil or evil forces will use the people close to you to deter you from your trajectory. So brother, I'm going to say to you, as I say to myself every day, stay the course. Stay
Facts.
the course. When that stuff start happening to you, they censoring you, your relationship falling apart with your partner, your family got issues, that got issues. Stay the course. Stay the course, because these forces are coming after you only to deter you from your purpose, your God-given divine purpose. And that's all that is. And so that's what I tell myself every day. You know what I mean? And these forces would not be coming after you if you weren't doing something right. If you weren't doing something right. Because when you're doing negative stuff, I mean, forces come at
Facts.
me, I mean, all right, whatever. But when you on the right trajectory, it seems like everything is coming after you to deter you from that righteous path that the
Facts.
creator put you on. And so people like you and myself, we just got to stay the course no matter what. In the face of adversity, stay the course. When you're thinking you down to your last dime, your last dollar, stay the course. When you're thinking, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to do this, you got to stay the course. You got to stay the
Facts.
course no matter what. So now going back to what you said, brother.
Yes. Go.
going back
Listen,
to
the
what
floor is yours. The floor is yours. Talk that
going,
talk.
going back to what you're saying, brother, you asked me what got me here. It honestly was not planned. It wasn't planned. I come from a family, and I come from a great family. My family is flawed, just like any other family, but I come from a great family, and I wouldn't trade my family for anything in the world. And in my family, we've had, educators, community activists. I mean, they're always active, helping people. I mean, when I think of my father's side, I'm thinking particularly of my father and his mother, my grandmother, Myrtle Bailey. I'm thinking about my grandmother, Evelina McFadden. I'm thinking about my mother and my aunties. I come from a family of givers. We give, we give, we give, we give. We love people. We want to help people, and that's the family environment that I come out of. Right, very very close knit families. Have our ups and downs like every family, but very close knit family through and through. And grew up in Baltimore County, spent a lot of time in Baltimore City, where my grandmother lived in East Baltimore City. And when I was 15, and I'm telling my age, it was 1996. I was 15 years old. And my cousin and I don't know why we were downtown in Baltimore, but we were downtown doing God knows what. I couldn't even tell you. And I walked past this brother, and I call him my earth angel. This brother I walked past, he was selling books. Okay, really resemble you, to be honest with you. Chocolate brother, that's all I remember. He was a chocolate brother, handsome brother, and he was downtown. He was selling books. And at that time, I'm 15. We broke. We don't have any money, so we walked past. We look at his books, and he said he was trying to convince us to buy some books, and we were like, adamant about not getting the books. And we walked away, and I'll never forget. He said, "You." He said, "Sister, you." He said, "Come here." He said, "I'm gonna give you this book for free." So I don't know what moved him. I don't know if it was the creator. I don't know if it was the ancestors. I don't know if it was both.
It
I don't
was
know what
both.
moved him. Yeah, said, "Let me get this sister the book." So he gave me a book, and he said, "You should read this, and I'll give it to you for free." But what made me want to read it was when he said, Erica Badu get throws these in the audience. In her, at her concert, she throws these books in the audience. And I said, okay, cool. And at that time, Erica Badu, we talking 1996. Erica Badu was huge, with On and On, and all of her singles, and so she was huge. And so when he said that, I said, oh, Erica Badu, she throws these out in the crowd when she's, singing. And he said, yeah. I said, okay. So I took the book home, and it sat on my dresser for some months, and I'll never forget. I was a junior. I was in a junior in high school, and one day I looked at the cover and I got curious. I saw this figure on the cover, and I was like, "What is this?" So I opened the front page. I opened the book, and on the front page, the author, and I'm going to reveal the book in a second, but the author, described the cover art. And so I read that, and it was talking about, a children of the sun, and a scribe. And I'm like, what is it? What is he talking about? And then I started reading the book, and that book changed my life. And that book is called From the Browder File by Anthony T. Browder. That book changed my life. That book taught me that our history does not begin with enslavement and colonization, but with greatness, and that we built thriving civilizations before our people were colonized and enslaved. It talked about melanin, and how melanin is something that is divine. He talked in that book, he talked about religion, the origins of religion. He talked about the politics of hair. He said, when the way you wear your hair, you're making a political statement. And after I read that, I went natural at the age of 15, and I have never put a perm in my hair ever since. So all this is mine. This is all me. Okay. All me, all natural. And I've been like that since I was 15. I started growing my perm out of my hair at 15 after I read that book. And so that book, it ignited like a passion in me, man, that I can't, it's undescribable. It was like this thirst, this hunger. I was like a newborn baby, just wanting to drink the milk, of knowledge, the milk from the, I don't want to say the tree of knowledge, because I know the tree of knowledge has a bad connotation in the Bible, but I'm just trying to get you to understand that it was just to get that knowledge. It just, and so I started from there. I was reading books by Dr. Naeem Akbar, Know Thyself, Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery, Community Yourself. Then after that, boom, I'm reading Life and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, autobiography of Malcolm X. So I'm just going in, and just learning. I'm reading about the Council of Nicene, all kinds of stuff. And
Facts.
and that's what actually woke me up. And then, as always, and I may not want to say use the word always, but you know how you get the knowledge and then you get excited, and no one around you is really as excited as you. They're not reading what you're reading, so you're bringing the knowledge
Facts.
to people, and they're not really excited. They're very, it's no diss, but a lot of people, they weren't privy to the knowledge that I had. And to be honest with you, brother, I feel like looking back, I wish I had more guidance. Um, when I did, more guidance with trying to digest what I was learning, because it made me angry. I was excited, and it created a hunger in me, but I was also angry. So I'm at Sunday dinners, like battling my uncle, like, you believing in this? Well, we got the black man, and it made me very militant, to the point where my mother was like, you're like over here, and white race is over here, and you're all the way over there. You know what I mean? Like, you're on one extreme, they're on the other extreme, and it made me really very militant and very angry, and because I, like, again, I didn't have any type of guidance to help me process these things that I was learning. I felt like I was being, I was lied to. I've been going through the educational system my whole life, and I never learned stuff like this. So I felt like I was misled. I felt like I was lied to, and it developed, feelings of anger and bitterness. And so I'm debating folks. And then after a while, brother, I went back to sleep. I went to college. I went, I went back to college, man, and I just, I was still, pro black or practicing black nationalism, but man, I went back to sleep. I went back to sleep. I started ripping and running the streets. I'm hustling, doing my thing in Baltimore. I was like, man, the hell with this black power stuff, man. And then I finally got sat down in 2013. And when you get sat down, you got a home monitoring anklet, bracelet around you, and you sit in the house for 13 months, and it's just you and your thoughts, what happened. So I got sat down and started doing a lot of thinking, a lot of searching, a lot of evaluating, you know what I mean? And literally just, sat down for 13 months and kind of really, I think that was the ancestors and the creator saying, let me sit this woman down, because she's kind of, this is not what was meant for her. She's out here, she's hustling. Yeah, she got her PhD, her doctorate, but she out here, man, acting a donkey. Let me sit her butt down. So I got sat down, and I sat down for 13 months, and I had time to think and to reevaluate and to evolve. And then I had to sit down another 12 months after the 13 months. And those 25 months, man, I really went through like a metamorphosis, a spiritual and mental metamorphosis, and started changing. And I started going back to what I've always done, which was educate myself and others. And that's what I did. I'm actually getting ready to do a show. I'm trying to get in touch with some of those sisters I was behind a G wall with, to come on my platform. A lot of them have OD'd and have died. Some of them have died from like HIV, but some of them are still out there, and I am in the process of trying to reach them because I want them to come on. I'm actually bringing on different people from different parts of my life, right? Like, so people who knew me when I was in the K through 12 system, people who knew me when I was in college, people who knew me when I was in the military, people who knew me when I was going through my storm, and I was behind a G wall, and then people who saw me emerge, saw what emerged from that, and so I want to bring them on so people can see, like, this woman is not lying. She's always been an educator, no matter what environment I was in, whether it was the military, whether it was prison, whether it was school, whatever, whether it was on Park Heights and Wiley when I was with my friends. I'm outside 18 years old teaching them about melanin and Kemet and the pyramids. And I mean, I'm 18 and these cats are like in their 20s. Shout out to Dory. I'm going to send this link to her. They were all in their 20s. Like, go ahead, shorty, build. And I'm out there with and I'm just being candid with you right now, brother. I'm out there with the, and I'm 18 and I'm out there like, yeah, we came from greatness and I'm just building. So I have always been an educator. And so I'm just doing what I've been put here to do, which is educate myself and others. So, brother, that's my journey. I just laid out everything for you. That's my entire journey. That's who I am,
Uh,
an educator.
And listen, let me just say this one time. You could never have it the way that you got it now. If somebody was able to talk to you and guide you, you probably would have turned into a coconut. I'm just being honest. Black in the outside, but the inside would have been the foundation of, what. So I am super, super happy that you went through what you went through, because that same fire is what we need, right? Let's just touch on religion. Religion has caused our people to be soft, right? So in somebody like yourself who comes out with that fire and that passion, even with the blunt in the hand, you know what I'm saying? You got, you know what I'm saying? You gotta let it go. That's what we need right now, and especially in today's time, we can't afford no subtlety. I need it raw, direct. When you go see Poppy before it's stepped on, we need it like that. I don't
Yeah,
want it any other way. You feel me? So
absolutely.
shout out to you for that. But let me ask you a question.
Please do.
When I sent you the information, I said, what do we need to do to fix the black and brown community? What needs to be done to restore order? The floor is yours. Before I say something, I want you to give your input.
No, I think that's a powerful. First of all, when you text me that and said that was going to be the topic, I laughed at it. I said, "Oh yeah, this is easy work for me to talk about, man." Like, the crazy part is my aunt. I was just at her house and we were talking about my triggers, and she said one of your triggers is with black people and what we're not doing and what we need to do. She said that's actually one of my triggers. And then lo and behold, I look at a DM from you and you're like, yeah, the topic is, what must black and brown people do, to restore our communities. Let me say one thing that may be unpopular to your listeners, or I know you'll probably be with it, but a lot of people don't want to hear this part. We really need to separate ourselves from the dominant society. Um, and people, when I say separate, people think segregate versus separate, and so let's deal with that, right?
Not
Segregate
not to
meaning,
cut your wisdom. Hold on. I
okay.
love you. Continue. Let's go ahead.
No, I love you too, brother.
Go
But I'm
ahead.
like, that's the first thing we need to do, man, is separate from the dominant society. This culture is killing us. We experience European cultural insanity every day. Every day. I remember telling um, one of my family members, and shout out. I know she's watching. I see Tiffany in the chat. Um, I told her that I said, man, I feel like sometimes I'm in an open air, it's a sane asylum. When I walk outside, like
Facts.
you see mental illness everywhere. And it's like you can't even escape it. You see it outside. You see it in your family. You see it in your household. You see it on the television. You see it on the internet. This cultural reality that we experience every day is enough to make a sane person go insane with the stuff that we see. The shootings, the dysfunctional behaviors,
Bring it out.
that we see. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's
Facts.
enough to make a sane person go insane. You know, um, and so we have to separate, not segregate, separate. And by separate, I mean that we are our own community. We are sovereign. We are self-governed. We possess self-determination, meaning that we create, speak, and define for ourselves. We literally are experiencing a reality that was not designed by our ancestors, a reality that
Facts.
wasn't designed out of our own minds, and a reality that is antithetical to our cultural reality, right? Like when you think of
Facts.
European cultural reality versus our cultural reality, though they're like what they call it diametrically opposed, to one another. Like
Facts.
Europeans, we Europeans cultural reality is very individualistic. It's rooted in materialism, deviant behavior,
Facts.
sexual behavior, deviant behavior, with these, salacious appetites that people have. I mean, that is the European cultural reality. Our cultural reality was rooted in, Maat, order, balance, justice, harmony,
Facts.
propriety, reciprocity, truthfulness. So our cultural reality, if you juxtapose it with the European cultural reality, um, they are diametrically opposed to one another. And that's
Facts.
why you see a lot of Baba Emotep talks about black insanity. You see a lot of black people who are literally out of their minds. Dr. Naeem Akbar, in his book Akbar Papers, he talks about how black people, suffer from a number of psychopathologies due to being culturally dominated by another group of people. Dr. Kobe Cambon, he talks about that in his book Cultural Misorientation, where he talked about how most black people, we suffer from a uh, a psychologically culturally based um, what do you say? Disorder that arises from, he said, the accumulation of too much European content, too much white stuff, and so we need to separate. We really do, not segregate,
Facts.
meaning that we live over here, but somebody else still controls, the culture, the politics, and economics of our community. No, we need to separate, meaning that we're separate and we control the culture, the politics, and the
Facts.
economics in our community. So that's one thing. When you say, well, what can black and brown people do to restore order? We got to separate. We want to restore order and still subject ourselves and our children to a European cultural reality that's driving us insane. It's not gonna work. It's like we're going to be running in the damn hamster circle. You know how the hamsters run in a circle? That's
Mm-hmm.
or run on a wheel. I'm sorry, not running the wheel. The hamster run on the wheel. You'll be running on a wheel because you're still culturally dominated by another group of people. That's why when you see a lot of people like myself and you, and we go have children, when those you when our, so we may teach them certain things in a household, but when they go outside, they're
Facts.
subjected to a totally different cultural reality than what's being instilled in them in the household. So then you wonder
Facts.
why your children coming home, they saying stuff, that you like, God damn, I didn't teach you that, or I didn't expose you to that. And
Facts.
they have these desires, and then they tend to just stray away from the ideologies that you are instilling in them, because we're under this cultural dominant reality. And so
Facts.
we need to separate. And once we separate, we then need to define reality for ourselves. What does that look like? What does it mean to be successful? What does it mean to be unsuccessful? What does it mean to be, good, bad, to be, to be. So we got to redefine reality for ourselves. So one, I said separate. Two, I said redefine reality for ourselves, right? And once we redefine reality for ourselves, then now we have to teach those definitions. Teach those things, the definitions, the philosophies, the morals and values that we have defined for ourselves. Teach that to our children. Reestablish families, strong communities, right? But again, remember I said the first two things: separate, redefine reality, formulate families and communities, and teach and enforce, practice and promote those definitions, the morals, the values, all of that sort of stuff. Do that, right? And promote that in your educational institutions, in your cultural and spiritual institutions. Your definition of reality. Promote it, enforce it, practice it. That's what we must do. But I'm going to tell you like this, brother. As long as we stay under white folks, we can sit here and talk all the black power stuff we want to talk.
Facts.
But it ain't gonna happen. And
Facts.
I land my plane with that.
Facts. Just to throw this out there for you, I'm working on a book right now, ebook titled "Restoring the Black and Brown Community, Reversing the Alice Bailey 10-point Plan." I'm working on that. Just
Ooh.
just be on the lookout for that. Everything that you say, yes, my channel says repent or die. Repent means change or you're going
That's
to
right.
die.
That's right.
That's the purpose behind it, right? So everything that you're saying, I talk about this numerous of times. Like it's to the point where I feel like grabbing a blowhorn and just standing in the middle of the street because it's like, dealing with this shadow band and just dealing with the ignorance, the emotional men, the high testosterone women, and it's like, wait, hold on, what's going on here? You feel me? And I stepped away from social media for 4 years because I had to find myself, right? I was being sucked into this world, right? Dealing with the women, selling the drugs, doing just chaos. So finding myself, I realized that I needed to detox. Now, this is what I've been saying. We need a worldwide detoxification from everything. We need a detox from Europeans. We need a detox from their food. We need a detox from their phone. Anything that they have their trademark on, we need to detox from it. So whether it's the food, the clothes, the television, the basketball, all of that, just give it to them. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to play hopscotch. Yeah, you take that. Here you go. Matter of fact, you can also take the athletes, those that sign their names in blood and the P Diddy parties bent over. All you guys go to. We just You go over there and allow us, right, to reestablish our community and separate. Listen. At this point, and this is no disrespect to the Europeans, at this point, man, we don't even need to have a conversation because they have done too much damage. It's to the point like I hear people saying, yo, we need reparation. Listen. When you say that you want reparation, you're disrespecting your fallen ancestors. And I'm talking about those that got hung for no reason. And I'm talking about those that got thrown in jail, that spent 40 years and came out and was given $1 million. Ain't no $1 million could give back those time he spent behind a wall for things that he didn't do, right? So I say all of that and say, the only thing that you guys can pay for what you have done to us, the payment has to be in blood. It can't be no other way. It has to be paid in blood, full blood, not partial, not going to Health Plus and they draining you. No, we complete blood. Why? Because I still remember the stories. And shout out, R.I.P. to Frances Cress Wilson. She's from your side of town.
Yeah, and DC.
And she said that these people used to take our children and feed them to alligators just so they can catch these alligators and make alligator shoes. Are you crazy? Nah, I don't want your money. Matter of fact, if the money don't have my face on it, I don't want it. You know what? How about you guys just take everything? The biggest saying that they tell black people, oh, go back to Africa. We will definitely go back. Let us go back, but you gotta leave too. Let us go back, but you gotta leave too.
You gotta leave too.
It's not we gonna go back home and then I see your face. No. You gotta leave too. Take. How LeBron James said, took his talent to South Beach. Take your talents back to Europe. Germany,
Oh,
Great Britain, wherever you dwell at, you go there and let us figure it out because they know what we can do. They know what we capable of. See, like I tell my I'm about to say my future listeners, my loyal listeners, they know when this so-called Great Depression was taking place, that's when the Black Wall Street was flourishing. We didn't know what these stuff was.
no,
They
we
had to
didn't.
do what they had to do so we can be a part of their system. And they're using the same system to destroy, divide, and conquer. Where it's to the point where, like I said, I don't even wanna. There's certain things that I don't even wanna comment because I get more negative feedback from black people, especially black men, than the Europeans.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Of course, brother. I remember having a conversation, man, with family and comrades, and we were saying the same thing. You know, it's sad that the people I want to help the most give me the most pushback. That's bananas. That's
Crazy.
bananas. Yeah, they give you the most pushback. Your own people. You trying to give them the damn information, and they, oh, what you trying to? Come on, and you know what, brother? That brings me to this, and I would like to, I know we got to get ready to close out in a couple of minutes, but I remember as a teenage girl listening to Minister Farrakhan, and he used to always, he still does, quote the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? He said, "Black people are dumb, deaf, and blind." And when I was younger, I thought that that was harsh. I was like, "What the hell are you talking about, man? He's calling us dumb, deaf, and blind." He said, "Yeah, man." He said, "Black people are, they're deaf to the truth, they're dumb to the truth, they're blind to the truth, like, you know dumb, deaf, and blind when it comes to the truth." And so
Facts.
what I've come to realize was that he was 1,000% correct. And salute to Bobby E. Wright, who coined the term menticide. And he said that black people suffer from menticide, which is the systematic destruction of one's mind. And he said we suffer from menticide and trauma, man. Black folks are,
PTSS.
yeah, yeah, post traumatic slave syndrome, man. We suffer from that so much so that when somebody's trying to help your simple ass, I don't want to curse on your podcast, brother,
Let it out.
that you misconstrue help. How the hell you only a mental suicidal traumatized black person can misconstrue when somebody's genuinely trying to help you, trying to get your info, trying to get some information to you, trying to do right by you, trying to do right by their family. Only somebody who is traumatized and mental suicidal can't see it. Can't
Facts.
see it, brother. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with traumatized minds. We're dealing with menticide. So our people, man, I remember meeting Dr. Claude Anderson. Peace to Dr. Claude Anderson. Met him twice. Also met Dick Gregory. Both of them expressed something wrong with black folks. And I said, damn, he kind of being harsh. He said they did a number on us. They did. So much so that Dr. John Henry Clark said that the African who got off the slave ship, the African that got off the slave ship was not the same African that got on the that got onto the slave ship. They did a number on us. And we haven't healed from
Covered.
that, man. And
Facts.
so when you ask me what can we do, I forgot to mention healing. That's huge. That's huge. Separate and heal first. So you said what must be done? Separate, right, ourselves from European domination. Heal. Heal from the centuries of trauma, the
Facts.
centuries of oppression. We got to
Facts.
heal, then redefine reality for ourselves, and then form communities, families, communities, and institutions that will then teach, promote, and practice that new cultural reality that we've created. That's what must be done. That's what must be done. So yeah, brother, we got a lot of work to do. And I always tell people, man, I'm a servant. It was like, you a leader, you a professor, you this, you that. I'm a servant of our people. I'm a servant of the creator. I'm a servant of the ancestors. I'm a servant of our
Facts.
people. and
Facts.
we got a lot of work to do. So, brother, I just say let's get to work. Let's continue to stay the course, stay on the trajectory, stay on the path, regardless of those forces that will try to deter you from that. Let's stay the course and let's stay on the path, brother. And with that, I land my plane.
So before we log off, let me just say, like I told you, I am a life coach. I got a nonprofit, and we definitely gotta link up. Definitely gotta make it happen. Whatever you need me to do, what I'm trying to do in the hood, I'll definitely let you know. I'm gonna give you my direct number so we can stay
That's
on point, because I feel like, especially here in Brooklyn, it's like me against the world. And it's like,
uh-huh.
where's the real ones? You know what I'm saying? And shout out to my sisters, shout out to all those that's been supporting, but it's not enough men. It's more of the sisters that's in the fight than not enough men. And I salute you for all the things that you've done. I definitely want you on this show again. If you want me to come on, we just sparring right here. I didn't even go in depth, right? We need to sit down, drink some wine, and let me
And really
unwind.
go in.
You
Yeah,
feel
really
me?
go in. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So we're gonna set something up. It's hot. I'll be in Philly. I'll stop by Baltimore.
Do it. Yeah. Come on. And we set something up. We set something up. We could sit down. You let me know wherever you want to live stream at. We could find a nice cafe. Just like you said, sit down, have a drink, and just really like build. Let's build.
Facts.
Let's
But
build.
let the cafe
All
be
right.
in the hood though. We don't want
Yeah,
to be
that's where
around
we
the
at.
Europeans.
That's where we always are, brother. That's where we always are, brother. But I want to give you your flowers, man. Thank you so much. I do appreciate the invite. When you reached out to me, I was like, because I didn't know, I wasn't familiar with the podcast. So I didn't know, I didn't know what it was going to be, and so I asked you a couple of questions, and I said, yeah, brother, let's do this. Let's definitely do this. And so I appreciate the invitation to be a guest on this powerful, transformative platform, brother. And so you keep on doing your thing. I know you had some clients earlier and you're doing some work, man, doing a lot of work. So you keep on doing your thing. We need soldiers. We need soldiers. We need men. We need warriors such as yourself. And so I appreciate you. And the next time you want me to come past or come on, let me know. We have another build. Let's keep on building, brother. Let's stay in touch. Shoot me your number. I'll shoot you mine so we can definitely lock in. And to everyone under the sound of my voice, thank you so much for tuning in. I always tell folks on my podcast, I say, you could have been anywhere, right, in these YouTube streets or these social media streets, but you were right here with us. And so for everyone who locked in, for this 45, 50-minute, build, we want to thank you. I thank you, for giving us your mind and your time. I always say your mind, your time, and your behind. So we do, we do thank you. So with that said, brother, peace and black excellence.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to the followers, to the supporters, listen. If it's your first time, I hope it's not your last time. And if it's your second, third, fourth, fifth time, that means I'm still on your mind. That means we got to get on this grind. You know who this is. It's your brother man from the motherland, Mr. MBIC, a.k.a. Mr. Keep My Foot on you heathens, you he-gros, and the newly installed Heathenites next. Are you dumb or are you dumb? Listen to the creator say one time for the one time. And I'ma holla at y'all. One.